Hi guys, and welcome to episode number 96 of the PT Education Podcast. Here, Mr. Shy B. How are you this week?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, we're here, aren't we? We're good to go. Rock and roll in the years. Getting underway now, isn't it? So into the routine of into the routine of
nearly
life.
Tax time, mate.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Tell me about that, mate.
It's nearly fucking... We are going to do a tax podcast today.
Got to pay tax.
And it'll just be me and James crying.
Moaning.
Yeah, moaning and crying.
Moaning.
Nearly tax time. Goes quick though, doesn't it? 2 weeks in already.
Yeah, doesn't it? But it's good to get a bit of routine, a bit of structure, back into training, even around like nutrition and stuff. You know, just getting better habits, don't you? When you've got structure, we all like a bit of structure in life, and feeling good for it. I'd say.
Did we speak about this last week? I think we did when you said about Christmas. And last couple of weeks, I've really enjoyed getting back into my structure. Just have, like you say, nutrition, training, working with my clients, podcast. You know, just everything back as we like it is nice. I think we did talk about it because we were talking about how sometimes you need the sort of the disarray and chaos maybe you have when you're off and enjoy that time, but then you also enjoy coming back into structure, don't you? So it's you need one to appreciate the other.
100%, yeah.
And I'm quite excited for the podcast because we've got some cool stuff coming up as well, potentially, haven't we?
Yeah, we're sort of going for it this year, aren't we? More stuff going to go up on YouTube. It's really good.
So, no, this is last week. So, because we're a week ahead.
Yeah, so week.
Hopefully, guys, if you're listening to this, actually, let's fucking plug it right at the start because no one listens at the end.
Yeah, YouTube.
If you go back to
easy to find on YouTube?
No,
we're not easy to find.
Yeah,
people search for us. I can't find you anywhere.
Yeah.
Could you add a link in the show notes?
That's a good idea. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
And also, if you go on our Instagram page, you can get to it.
Yeah. So Instagram will add links to it. Our Instagram page, that's PT Education.
Yeah.
And the show notes in this episode.
I'll add the link.
That might be the easiest way to guide people because at the moment,
and then once
YouTube doesn't love us, does it? We're not big enough yet.
No. And once you get there, and inevitably you subscribe, because why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? Because this is just absolute gold.
No, because then you get to see us.
You get to see us, lucky people.
And that's fucking.
It's worth subscribing just for that to us. Yeah.
We'll end up getting approaced by OnlyFans. I reckon.
Yeah.
No, don't worry about PT Education.
People are going to go, quite disappointed.
How do I find you? OnlyFans /
Do you look
PT Education?
Do you think you look better than you sound, or you sound better than you look?
Me?
Because you know what, when you hear people's voices, so then when you see them in person, if you had that, like on the radio or life, and you're like, sometimes the expectations in reality don't always match up, do they? Either way,
that's a good point. I reckon
how to be yourself. Also, like when you hear your own voice,
you do. I think
I don't like the sound of my own voice. I must be honest. Do I really sound like that? I'm like, bloody hell, James.
I actually think, and it's not because I think I'm probably look better than I sound. I don't think I've got a great voice.
Yeah.
Like when I hear it back, it confirms exactly what I think. So if my voice is a 3, I reckon I'm a 5. So it doesn't matter how low down the scale you are.
Yeah.
But I reckon.
So you reckon you look better than you sound. So actually, people will be pleasantly surprised if they go onto YouTube and go, Dan sounds like a complete mug. But actually, if you go and see you,
he sounds like an ugly bastard.
He's actually better looking than he sounds,
and it's just not as ugly as you thought he was. Yeah. No, I think I don't think I have a great voice. I'm one of those voices that when I listen to,
because some people have like all the full package, don't they? Like sort of the Gemma Butler or whatever. You're like, bastard. You're like, you sound good and you look good as well.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm particularly high up on either scale, but I think. So if you just want to listen to it in silent and watch me, what about you, mate? Which way around are you? Full package?
Full package. All round,
full package, 0 both ends.
0 on both. Probably, I'm the same, man. I don't like listening to my voice. I've got better at listening to it since we're doing the podcast.
Yeah.
A lot of people say to me, I don't like how I sound. But it's what it is. You can't really. You can perfect how you speak, of course, but your voice is kind of. I've heard different perspectives. I'm going to challenge myself here, actually.
Go on.
I have heard different perspectives. I remember doing a communication course and the instructor saying, how we speak is just set up from our environment, from our past experiences, from our parents, all the other stuff that I bang on about psychology. So I've got it in straight away. It's in already. And actually, you can sort of reprogram your voice because of neuroplasticity and all those types of things. But it becomes really conditioned.
Can I make it deeper and sexier?
You have to say, it'd be great if you could. And I don't know. Again, I want to be open-minded to that. So I'm kind of like a bit like, one part of me is a bit like the voice is the voice, but I do believe there are things you can do. I suppose a bit like singing. I think I'm crap at singing. I'm tone deaf. But could I slightly improve that? I think that's probably it. Yeah. I could probably improve from being really shit at singing to just being a bit shit,
Yeah.
or shit.
Yeah.
And maybe same voice can be off from not liking my voice to just improving it a little bit. Maybe it's like that. I don't know. It's
Well,
an
it's like
interesting
accents,
discussion,
isn't it? If you go somewhere else, your accent changes. If I move to Ireland for the next 20 years...
If I'm around different people.
Yeah.
If I'm around different people, my accent... I remember being in New York with my...
Did you come back with a New York accent?
No, I got more southern and more like Londoner.
Did you?
So we had to like look for some massage. We had to look for like a place to get a massage on the last day. Had a bit of spare cash like left over, so I spent it on a massage. Found like the poshest hotel in New York. Not a good idea. Didn't get a massage there because it cost a fortune. But I bowled in there like some sort of cockney.
Yeah.
What, geezer? Any place we can get a massage? Yeah. And my mate was like, do you know how cockney you sound? I was like, really? She's like, yeah, you turned it right on.
Hand it up.
I'm English, I'm going to let everyone know here. so it went the other way. But I had a mate, Sam Davis, who was on one of our first podcasts.
Yeah.
He actually moved to Australia for a year. He came home after the first 6 months and had a proper Australian accent after 6 months. He sounded like an Aussie. So we maybe adapt in our environments by turning our accents and getting stronger, or maybe dulling it down to fit in with our environment. It's interesting, isn't it, how we speak?
Yeah, if my missus had the choice, she'd pack me off to Ireland so I could pick up an Irish accent.
Would she like that?
Yeah, I have to be honest, I like the Irish accent. You know, when you like Cillian Murphy or someone like that talking in a normal voice, there's something about the Irish accent. There's a lot of people seems like... I always find R1, I think it's just fucking boring. Unless you ham it into, like you say, like an East London sort of Cockney thing.
But if you went somewhere, people would think that you've got an accent.
Yes, exactly.
No.
We were having...
If you listen to this in down south, we sound normal. But up north, would sound...
Listen to these posh guys.
Who are these posh boys? Who are these posh Thomas Wells boys?
When we went to New York, actually, so we were having an argument, well, not an argument, a disagreement over which Subway sandwich to have. So it wasn't a big argument, but we were having a disagreement because we just missed the ferry. But there was this American woman next to us, and who's just like, I know you guys are having a bit of a discussion at the moment, but I just love your voices.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
And an angry English person.
That go down really well.
Yeah.
I've been on nights out around American women, and they just love you talking, and I just keep talking. Not a problem.
Not a problem. I'll keep talking. I'll sit down.
I'll keep talking all night long.
Yeah, I'd go.
Americans tend to like the English accent.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
funny,
great.
isn't it? How you find
Why
it?
don't you move to America?
I don't know. Yeah, I should move.
We'll do a podcast in America because they appreciate us out there.
New York podcast.
They'd like us.
Well, there might be some listening.
Let us know if listening. And if you are, let us know if you like our accents. And if you
don't,
don't,
we'll change them.
If you don't like them, don't say words.
We'll change them.
I don't want to hear about it.
If someone tells me something, I will just change it.
Just change according to what you want and what your environment tells you. Which might segue a little bit into your points
today.
today.
It fucking does. We're getting good at this.
We're finding segues all over the shop, aren't we?
And if not,
Segue Kings.
And if it doesn't, just say it anyway.
Sandwich it in, just go segues.
But yeah, just to finish off the podcast, so where we started that particular ramble, last week's podcast is on YouTube. This one will be on YouTube by the time it comes up. So if you want to see us,
you can
and
connect
go
to
in,
show notes or Instagram
or Insta.
PT Education is the name.
And we've got some guests coming up, and obviously they'll all be on YouTube as well. We will get regular with this. We've got our shitting gear.
We're not mucking about this shit, but what we're talking about there is accents and voices and how we kind of adapt to our environment, or maybe change how we speak. I've done it before and tried to change a little bit how I speak to fit in, and I don't think that's necessarily
it's
bad.
Not unauthentic, is it?
No,
Sometimes you just
but maybe I don't know. Maybe people start to change the whole persona and the whole actions based upon the environment. And I feel like that segues into a point that you want to make. Is that correct? Have I got that right?
It does. I'm just going to finish with one last little bit, but it does segue nicely in that I actually do it with clients.
Yes,
I match them. Funny enough, I've got a guy that comes in and he's like an East Ender, a bit of a Londoner, and Vix, one of the trainers, noticed it. She said, "You're talking like a right Cockney." I was like, "Well, fucking am, aren't I?"
I'm not Cockney.
No, but you match it, and whilst you don't like lose how you talk, you do match. I have clients that are a bit quieter, and all of a sudden I get quieter and a bit louder, so I just get a bit louder, and they have certain words they use. Some of my younger clients, words that I don't even know what they fucking mean, but I get stuck in. So it's not being authentic, but it's just matching someone's sort of just personality.
And I like that. And you do that because you're good with people. And I'm the same. I also do that. If someone swears, and I'll put swear words in.
Yeah.
If they're louder, all that sort of stuff, I try and match their personality as much as possible. Still authentic, just a different version of James. I'm not just one person. And that's a great thing about being around different people, different environments. If you do a job where you're around the same type of people all of the time, you just have that one hat on. It's very difficult to wear a different hat. And it's quite nice to be with the lads, one personality or one part of your character.
Yeah.
And there may be a certain type in work.
Yeah.
And in our job, it could be a spectrum just within work because
Yeah.
we work with different people and we're trying to connect with different types of people. So if you're a coach or a personal trainer, try and build relationships, trying to be authentic, as you say, but match on their level, which we haven't talked about for a long time. We did talk about it in the podcast some time ago, but I think it's worth recapping because it's a real important skill, and I feel it's a skill that we're getting worse at. I think kind of human connection and how we interact. One of my clients who's in his mid-50s was saying he's noticed in the younger generation how bad they are at talking to other people or talking to senior people and communication. So it's a really valuable skill that actually, if you can get good at it, as a coach, it'll make you really successful, and it's worked well for you, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's another thing that will come into today with social media as well, but just any media and phones now, is that you have less and less human in-person communication because you're on your phones, you're messaging, WhatsApping, video calling, Zooming, not in the office as much. All of these things mean you just practice it less. You're just around different people less. It's one of the nice things that being around different people can become a good thing as well. And this is where we are going today, about being around the same people all the time. It's not necessarily the same people. We're going on a different track today because I've kicked off about social media again.
Dan's kicked off.
And this actually isn't about social media. It's more about the stuff I'm seeing on there with trainers, but trainers locally as well, and trainers when I go on courses. It's everywhere.
Today's podcast is really geared towards trainers, isn't it? And really helping trainers reflect on some really important points that will help you in your career and help you, I think, get more fulfillment out of your career. And I think that's why this is an important podcast today. And this is why it's going to be worth listening to Dan's ramblings, but actually some really valuable points that I think in this current climate for PTs, this is a really important podcast.
Yeah. No, I think it is. And especially, I'm going to start with what I was looking at last week. And I mentioned it to you off air last week when we were talking about what we're going to do. Or it might have been the week before. Doesn't fucking matter. Because it's January. So marketing and scarcity, which is one of the things we were talking about. And I've seen this a lot with trainers and coaches all over social media. So this isn't so much more of a local thing. Of trying to create this sort of scarcity marketing campaign, which I know is very much something that is used, but it's not something that's used in personal training. And it's, unless I would suggest you're a top coach, maybe a physique athlete coach, a real fully booked coach who does not have any more time. Because I don't know about you, you've got a slightly different track on this now, but if you go further back in your career, but certainly for me, currently I am fully booked, but that doesn't mean I close my diary or open my diary. That's not how it works. Because at any point a client might drop off or a client might reduce their sessions and I can add a client in. To be honest, if there was someone I really wanted to work with, because I know who I really enjoy working with now, then I can fit them in. But it seems like there's something online at the moment. I see lots of closing of diaries and opening of diaries. And I have to ask the question of, are you actually doing that? Are you actually at a point where you're closing your diary to inquiries because you're that busy? And then you're reopening your diary because it's a different time of year? But does that mean clients have dropped off? And I would suggest, based on what I'm seeing, that's probably not the case, and it's more of a marketing campaign to try and create this scarcity sort of view of your company. Unfortunately, general population personal trainers aren't scarce. And so in trying to do that, I think it's quite see-through, quite transparent. And I've had people from my friends from outside of the industry ask me about it. And so people can see through that. This is my own bias. Well, all this is my own bias. Is
it's my bias. What have the last 5 minutes been?
This is. I think people can see through it, and I don't necessarily see the need for trying to create that because of the way we work. You see it a lot with products. If you've got a product and the demand starts to outstrip the supply, or the product's only available at certain times, such as, I don't know, a FIFA football game or a football shirt coming out to start the season, you do create a scarcity because, first of all, there might be some scarcity there, maybe not in football shirts, so just fucking make more. But there's a time of the year, for instance, that these things are going to be at the most popular. Football shirts start the season.
I mean, tickets would be the classic example.
Tickets, yeah.
There's a certain amount.
First release, and then it goes second release.
Like big fights and stuff like that.
And you say, But that's not how we work, and I think people do tend to see through that. There might be some other things where you're doing a small campaign where, let's say, you've taken on 10 online coaches at a special price, 10 online clients, sorry, at a special price. But that makes sense to me. Then when I see it and I go, right, this person's opened up a special thing, they're only giving away 10 places and they're counting it down, that as a marketing ploy for a personal trainer makes sense to me. I'm like, you've limited the amount of spaces and you're giving people the opportunity before it shuts. But if you're just a general population personal trainer, like I am, like you are, well, you're sort of switching, there's not real scarcity there. You either have the ability to take on clients or you don't. It's irrelevant at the time of year. Right, mate, I've ranted. Anything you want to pick apart in there?
No, not really, mate. To be honest with you, no. I mean, that's cool. I think that's a worthwhile reflection, isn't it? If you're thinking about marketing as a PT, then how you market yourself, I suppose you want to try and do it as authentically as possible.
I think so.
And maybe just base it around your knowledge, your experience, and also the results you're getting people. If you're marketing something, people are going to want to buy into some sort of result, aren't they? So yes, I think the social media landscape, the personal training landscape, is very different now as opposed to what it was when you and me first started coaching.
Yeah.
I'm aware of that. So for me, been coaching since 2008. Social media was nothing like it is now. So it was all about being good with people, like we said at the beginning. It's all about developing word of mouth, being good at your job, being professional, being on time, delivering good standards, like over and over again, like doing that as a coach. And to be honest with you, I still think that works now really, really well. And I feel like we can, as coaches, if I was a younger coach now, it'd be more confusing for me because I'd be like, I don't love social media, I don't love technology, but everyone else is doing it. Do I feel like I need to be going on that path? So, but then again, if you're good at marketing and you enjoy that and that's a part of you and a part of how you want to run your business, that's okay as well. Just try and do it as honestly and as authentically. You don't need to lie.
No.
You know, if anything, good marketing and good sales is having a product that's legitimately going to help someone, caring about the client's needs and wants, and finding a service to solve their problems. Don't need to lie about that. Let's create honesty from the word go. And I think that would be really important. And I can also understand though the predicament that young coaches are in, because it can be confusing and it can be difficult, and you're getting a lot of mixed signals. Almost young coaches are the same as the general population with nutrition. They're like, where do we start? There's conflicting messages. That person looks like they know what they're doing. That person looks like they know what they're doing. That person looks successful. So you get really overwhelming. So I have a lot of empathy and compassion for younger coaches in the industry, because I chat to them. Sometimes they are a bit confused and they are easily influenced. And guess what? If I was 22, I'd probably be the same, to be honest with you. And my advice to a young coach would be try and look at people who are 5-10 years down the line and have conversations with them and think about the bigger picture around what do you want to do. If you want to be a good coach, that means working with people. Get good with people and your business will be fine, and your business will market itself really, really well. How many clients do you really need? Try and market yourself to thousands of people. You don't need to. You need maybe a small following and a nice local word of mouth reputation, and you're going to be a very successful coach.
I think that's a really important point there when you said look up to people that have been doing it 5 or 10 years, but talk to them. Because sometimes what happens, and I was guilty of this younger in my career without question, is sometimes you try and copy, but you've misunderstood maybe the reasoning, or you just don't know the reasoning. Whereas actually, if you have a conversation with that person, maybe that person who's more experienced can say, yeah, actually, this is my thought process. And some of that will be through maybe courses. A lot of it I've found is just through trying things, going, no, that didn't fucking work, so I'm going to try this. And you come up with your own little system and way of doing it. I would love a trainer to ask me. I would love if a trainer asked, and I copied people, probably copied you at stages. If I had a trainer now, I wouldn't mind them doing what I was doing if they'd come and asked me. So if they even had like a 5-minute conversation, just what are you thinking here? I'd fucking love that. I'd love someone to see old ego kicking off. But also, it's genuinely enjoyable experience to pass wisdom or to just give some advice, obviously when asked for, because we've spoken before about unsolicited advice.
Yeah.
So I'd want someone to approach me. And if someone asked me, I'd love to sit down 5, 10, 15 minutes, have a coffee, and for them to go, why'd you do that? What are you thinking here? And maybe afterwards they go, that's not what I'm going to do, but maybe they understand the reasoning and that can help them in some way. I think going and speaking to experienced trainers, do you know what? You can even speak to experienced trainers who you think, I fucking wouldn't do that. It's still worthwhile having a conversation. Just pick them up and go, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
and just explore him.
Also, I think as far as asking advice goes, imagine being the other side of it, and you're talking about from the other side here. Like, how does it feel for someone to go, "Can I just pick your brains for something?"
Fucking beautiful. I love that.
It feels nice. Someone
Yeah.
asking you advice on something, and I sometimes do it with clients. I've asked some clients about restaurants.
Yeah.
Wow, they're telling me like, I mean, it's like a
Face
list of
lights up,
thousands,
doesn't
or
it?
like
Yeah.
holidays.
Yeah.
Restaurants, I go, what are your advice around good holidays? They're off. They're loving
100
it.
grand down.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa, bloody hell. I can't afford any of those. Can we dull it down a little bit? And it's off on one, or restaurants. They're telling me about all the best Michelin star restaurants in the south of England. I'm like, okay. But actually, it's great, and you can see them. They're off for a good 10 minutes just telling me about all that. So asking someone's advice on something is incredible for building a connection, and it's a compliment to the other person. So if you ever like, I don't think I can ask advice, I'm not too sure, it's actually a compliment.
It is.
And,
Yes, it
and
is.
99% of people will be really receptive to that, and maybe 1% might not, but 99% of coaches who are senior who said, yeah, I can ask your advice. And I've had plenty of younger coaches throughout the years do that with me, and when I've done it in a nice way, I've always made time for them, plenty of time to sit down and talk about things and work things through, because actually giving advice and support is incredible for our mental well-being.
Well, it's incredibly...
It's about to give back, and it's about to offer value and to help and support, and about an industry that I'm still passionate about.
Yeah.
Cool, I'm not as closely tied into it as I once was. I might talk about that later, but I still care about the industry, and I still think it's a fantastic industry. And
You've got experience to offer.
And I've been doing it 16 years, so it's nice to be able to offer something back. So yeah, if you're a junior coach, I never had anyone to really look up to, and it's really slow, hard grind when there's no one to kind of not put on a pedestal, just to get some advice or mentorship. Mentorship is great, and if I want to learn now about psychology or different types of coaching or whatever, communication, I will try and seek some sort of like mentor to kind of help me and guide me. There's a couple of people at the Toastmasters that I go to, and they're not mentors, but they're really happy to take me to one side. They can see that I'm passionate about getting better in my communication, and they're more than happy. They can see how engaged I am, and you can see how excited they are to pass all this information around how to talk better, how to communicate better, and they're off. And it's great. They're getting as much value giving me the information as I am receiving.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a great two-way transaction. It's a lovely thing to have in life.
Was that tutoring? We've both tutored people over the years. Been tutored, love being tutored. Doing a little bit more in the start of this year, actually, as in being tutored. But I've also tutored, and they are both incredibly... Both sides just light you up. One of the reasons we'll come back to education in a bit. One of the reasons I'm going back up and doing a little bit with Michael, and then I'm going to do some psychology course that you've recommended, actually, later in the year. It's just to get going again and meet people, and just... Not that the spark's gone, but just to, bang, get going again. But we'll come back to education in a bit before I go on too much. Right, this is something that, again, it'll be interesting from a psychological standpoint, actually. I said we weren't going to do psychology, but we fucking are. But here we are, it's part of everything, isn't it? Trainers that... And again, I don't actually think I've done this, but I'm probably wrong. Trainers that whatever their current training regime is for themselves is the best thing that everyone should be doing. Now, maybe I have done this, but I see that quite a lot. Rather than being open-minded, because I've bought different, for instance, I'm doing some yoga, which I've really enjoyed, but I don't now all of a sudden think that the perfect split is me doing 4 sessions a week in a yoga session. That's just something I wanted to do this year, and I've really enjoyed it. And I want to try some different aspects of health and fitness and breath work, which we've spoken about before. I'm definitely going to jump on this year, and a few other things. I think sometimes people can get caught up in whatever their current training regime is. We saw it with basically the bodybuilding thing, which is maybe what I was a part of. The mechanics is why I actually just corrected myself maybe slightly. I came out of there, and it was just because I was so excited and passionate about it. Everyone suddenly is strapped the fuck out and banded up, and maybe it wasn't required, and now I've pulled back from that. But I'm actually, and I see this a lot on social media, with people just thinking that their way is the right way, rather than being open-minded to the fact their way is the right way that they enjoy towards their goals now. But that can change. My training's changed over the years, and what I enjoy and don't enjoy has changed. And I think it's quite important to keep open-minded, and whatever the current fad/trend is not something you can't take away from that, or that's something you might stick with long term. That doesn't mean that's how everyone should, and we've got a video, I can do it, should train. What do you think of that one? Seen that before?
Yeah, and we can all fall into it, can't we? Because we'll
I think I did. I did.
Training biases around what we're learning, and it comes from a good place often. You're enthusiastic about it. You're really getting a lot out of it, and it just starts to influence the way that you coach.
As long as you don't demonise the others. So I'm all up for the coming from a good place, but I have also seen people demonise training that's not theirs.
Yep.
And that probably comes from an ego place, would you say?
It comes from a naive place. You and me have had these conversations, not on the podcast, but we've chatted about lots of things in life, haven't we? Different life experiences, and we often have spoke about having different experiences in life makes you less naive. And if you're from the outside, you judge it from the outside, like that, and that, and that. And then when you go and experience it, you go, actually, this isn't quite what I thought it was going to be cracked up to be. This is actually different to what my outside perceptions were. It's like that with training. You perceive something from the outside. I would have done that with yoga. When I first when I first left the army and became a personal trainer, I would have thought, yoga, flexibility, no, don't need any of that. So all that and that. And then got down the rabbit hole of, okay, mobility helps with pain. Then I'm like, no, it doesn't. And then just backwards and forwards with it. But now you kind of come to this open-mindedness around what something could offer you as an individual and what maybe parts of it might offer other people. So you develop more skills and knowledge and wisdom through having different experiences, having an open mind. It could be with education, it could be with different types of exercise, whatever. There's certain things that I feel like I can't comment on that much because I haven't really done it. Like I haven't done CrossFit. I can give some of my opinions, but my opinions are never that good because I haven't done a CrossFit class before. And I snap my shoulders for starters. But and my hip probably wouldn't function too well, so it probably wouldn't be for me mechanically. But I can't really come. I'm part of those communities. And it's like that with everything in life, isn't it? So really be open-minded. So just getting in and trying something, and then formulate your own opinions and perspectives. But you can only really do that once you're involved in it. It could be, I don't know, people judge it. People naturally judge stuff from the outside. People were judging mechanics, or mechanics judge people the other way. Backwards and forwards. Like, why don't you lot go and try that, and then you lot go and try that, and then we can probably all come.
Let's all be friends.
Somewhere. Let's all just be friends.
Let's all be friends.
Yeah. So it's that open-mindedness, isn't it? I think if you want to be a fully rounded coach,
you've got to be.
Just try and have, first of all, different life experiences would be good, but also different experiences within your career. Maybe work at some different places, train some different types of clients, do some different courses. Chat to different types of coaches, get out of your bubble. Like, all that stuff will only be positive, and then you might gather all that and go, right, now I'm even clear on what I want and what I don't want. Try different business models. Try one-on-one, and you might go online, or you might try group training. Try some different things. You're like, oh, actually, now I really know that this is aligned with me. Sometimes we create self-awareness through experience as much as anything else. There's only so much you can analyse yourself without experience.
There was a point in there I was going to go on to before I've circled this one. Talking about clients, gym floor. Also it's important, I think now for me, that if a client wants to try something else, I'm always very positive about it. Not if they want to leave me, I'm very negative about that. But if someone wants to try something else, they want to try. I've got a client who's doing high rocks in May. People that want to go and try yoga, which beforehand I've been like, I might as well get an extra strength session in. I'm doing yoga myself now, so obviously opening yourself up to different things. But if a client wants to try something new, I'm very much always positive about that. Because I think, go and try it. Why not? Fucking go and try it. Unless it's something that's going to... If I had one of my older clients, or someone who's had previous injury, but I've got a client who's maybe got a few niggles and they're sort of older, and they said, I want to go and do some CrossFit, I might say, maybe want to think about that. But if I did, I'd also open up to mind to all the different stuff they could do that maybe suit them better, such as Pilates or yoga or something like that. But for everyone else, if any of my clients want to try something new, I'm positive. I want to reinforce that. Go and give it a go. You want to go swim or cycle or do a marathon, let's fucking do it. Whereas beforehand, I might have, even if I was trying not to be, I might have come across a bit judgmental, and why would you do that when you can train with me and you can do this and this is what you should want. So I think that's really important, in being open-minded and allowing people to go and try shit. Don't be so caught up in our own bias and the only way that we think we're training. Because as you say, we get caught in like, we must train like this. So you end up with the strength lot and the bodybuilding lot and the physique development lot and then the high rocks lot and the CrossFit lot. And actually, it's really nice to bring a bit of a blend sometimes for some people.
100%.
Unless you've got a real specific, I want to bodybuild or physique develop or power lift. For everyone else, fucking let's do it. Just teaching someone a movement that they couldn't get. Hip hinge is the example that always springs to my mind with a certain
Why
guy.
can't you get this?
Yeah, and
awful.
I had like zero tools. I had one tool, show them, and hopefully they could do it. That was it.
And he keeps saying the same words over again. And if they say a bit louder.
I'd get angry though. I'd be getting that.
We'll try again.
Yeah. well, how can you not? How can you not do this simple thing? First of all, it's not simple. It's only simple because it's what I do all the time. But reflecting, I was actually getting angry with them. But now I realise, obviously, well, I realised it before now, but it was my own insecurities. It was me realising I didn't have the tools. It was the frustration in me that I didn't have anything else to help this person get this movement. And of course, as I've got more experience, your tools increase, you go on courses, you speak to different trainers, you find different ways of teaching things, and so that's great. So I never actually ever now get annoyed when someone can't do something. Actually, I almost see it as it's actually sometimes a bit of an opportunity, because a lot of the time I've got a way in most exercises to teach someone and then pick it up. So I've got various ways of explaining it. When that doesn't work, actually, it's quite nice to think, right, I've got to come up with something new now to help communicate with this person to get what I want. Or be understanding enough and not just, right, you can't fucking do that, let's go do something else. But go, maybe that's not quite the right thing. But yeah, I always remember that. Like, I could feel the anger burning in me because they couldn't do this thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't them, it was the fact that I didn't have the tools to be able to help them do it.
Yeah, I think alongside that as well, it's having the ability to be able to adapt as a coach. To go, well, actually, I've done some different coaching points. Right now, we can't keep hammering that. It must look like this. Yeah. That's where they are with it today. Let's use what they've got available and modify that into a half hinge, half squat or whatever. Like, be able to sort of modify things for the person rather than like, I've coached them like this, I've told them a few different things, we're going to keep going until they get this bang on. You're like, you probably have to be a bit more open-minded with how the human body moves. And I do think, firstly, as you alluded to there, we lack the skills to have lots of different ways of communicating and coaching a set movement. But also, we think about movements as very much, it must look like this and like this. Well, can't we be a bit open-minded in how a hinge could look, depending on the person, depending on their injuries, previous experiences, coordination, the list goes on. So maybe we can learn how to adapt and modify movements as much. So how we communicate, how we coach, how we put a message across, all that stuff, and also just thinking out the box of movement as well. Really important points for coaches to think about, and stuff that I don't think we're taught much from what I see. Again, through my
I wasn't fucking taught it.
I wasn't taught it, and stuff that I've kind of almost picked up throughout the years, really, maybe just sort of through other coaches or through different conversations, a little bit through other courses, been open-minded, and to be honest with you, just experience as well. I
wasn't taught, and the problem with when you're not taught is that on my level 2 and 3, I'm with a bunch of people who are learning the same shit that I am. So when it comes to the practical assessment, they can all do it. And so that didn't really... Maybe there's ways on a course, maybe you do almost what we do with role plays or something. Maybe what would be better in a course is for people to make it awkward, but at the end of the day, they can all do the movement. So it's not the best preparation.
Just get your population, that'd be the best thing.
That would be
just get volunteers in like a free PT session.
Yeah, that's how you'd want to do it, isn't it? It's a bit like, when you learn to drive. If you've got other PTs in there, they're just going to pick it up. It's just pointless. It's like when you learn to drive. So I say it's my old adage. It's not. It's an old adage where you learn to pass your test. And then actually you learn to drive once you're out on the road on your own, and you really get to see how people interact with each other. You haven't got a big old fucking L plate on top. Although some people say it's a target more than everything else. Yeah. But if someone flashes in a test, you're not allowed to. That's not actually a recognised sign. But we all know once you're driving, it is. And it's the same thing with training. You learn how to pass your exams. That doesn't really teach you how to be a good personal trainer or coach. That comes through, as you say, just working with people. And I suppose knowing you're going to fuck up and not have the answers at the start or forever. And it's a constant work in progress. Actually, that segues nicely into this. And I'm not going to tell people to do this because maybe it's probably not the best way to state things. I do it as if I had my time again. If I had my time again with my career, I would actually do it in the same way. I would still, I think, go and work on a gym floor to begin. Again, people probably wanting to do the online stuff, and maybe if you can create an online following and get straight into online work. I think if you've never, again, bias alert, if you've never coached in-person clients, I don't know how easy it would be for you to then teach people movements online, if you know what I mean. When you're working with different clients of different shapes, different sizes, different skill levels, different ages, you pick up a lot, don't you? You pick up a lot in how to teach people. And even if you're going to become an online coach, and I'm going to, this is actually Paul Standell talks about this as well, and he, to be fair, is a good example of this because he's done both. He always recommends this as well, to actually go and work with people, first of all on a social level and a building connection with people, but also to actually have bodies in the gym setting up exercises. to really build up some good experience first. And the gym I worked at, also I had to do like gym instructor shifts, which I think was quite good for me. I fucking hated them, but it was quite good for me to see sort of how a gym works, and doing lots of because I was a gym instructor, you did quite a lot of like simple programs for clients as well, which I think was useful. But yeah, if I had my time again, I'd do it in the same way. I wouldn't jump into being an online coach, but then I haven't been an online coach, so I don't know. But I do think it's a nice way to build.
I think the key word there is build, isn't it? I think we're in an environment now where everyone wants things quickly.
Yeah, they do.
And I see it a lot of junior coaches who come in and they kind of want to be busy. They want success.
Yeah.
Really quickly, as in 6 months or a year, and they wonder why their business doesn't look great. You're like, maybe first and foremost, haven't been taught how to really build a strong PT business, as in person. Forget about the business stuff. Think more about the person stuff. You're dealing with people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to emphasise what I said earlier. Like, those people skills will build your business more than all the business skills. Now, have a basic idea on business, finances and basic idea on tax, like really basic, but ultimately get accountants to help you out. Focus on getting very, very skilled and good with people, and you build a big business or a successful one-to-one business if that's your goal. But the other side of it is patience, and realising that you're looking at a good 3 years just to kind of really get into things, as you are with any new business, as we would be with this podcast, any new venture. People kind of want results really quickly, and that's the way the world is now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we can get information, everything's so instant gratification with our food, with the message we put out there, how quick everything is. We lose our patience with our health, with our fitness, with our career, with our finances. We don't think about the big picture, and it comes back to that old great quote: is people overestimate what they can achieve in 1 year and underestimate what they can achieve in 10. And I know if you're a young coach, 10 years seems a long time, but I can tell you what, it goes bloody quickly. And actually, you can get in a really good place. I know people are like, oh God, I'm 22 now, I'll be 32. 32 is still young. And if you're 32 and you think in 10 years' time you'll be 42, 42 is still young.
Okay? 42 is young. This day and age, especially.
Yeah, and even 52, I still think that's still pretty young. I've got clients still doing really well, thriving in their career, thriving with their health, thriving with their relationships into their 50s and beyond. So I think we need to stop worrying about, I need to be here by 30 or here by 35 because Stephen Bartlett was a multi-millionaire by 26. I need to be that. Let's put some realistic expectations of yourself, of what you can achieve, and be patient and keep focusing on doing the best you can each day. And you're going to have not just a fulfilling career in the future, a fulfilling career now, because your expectations are realistic, rather than always being constantly disappointed of, I should have more, I should be busier. Great, push, work hard, challenge yourself. But if you've got first year in and you've picked up 10 clients and they're training with you all the time, you're doing really, really well for a lot of coaches. But they have got these unrealistic expectations based upon what they see on social media, or maybe what other coaches have done, but maybe those other coaches were in different environments, different context. So avoid that comparison. And I know it's really easy for me to say because we all do compare, but the more you compare, the further away you're getting drifted from creating meaning in your life and fulfillment with your career, and ultimately being quite dissatisfied. So you've got to focus, you've got to kind of learn to have the balance of getting into that tunnel vision, focusing on what you need to do for your career to move yourself forward, and not spending too much time, I get we all do it a little bit, but too much time focused on what other coaches are doing. Because the more you do that, the more you think, I'm doing something wrong, I need to be like other people. Because our primal brain wants to fit in and to be accepted. It's a massive, massive driver. So be aware of those primal drivers and think logically, how do I want my life to look? And then link in your business to your life. Not going, my business needs to look like that. You're like, oh, how about your life? Doesn't matter. Does that sort of make sense as an overall philosophy around kind of being a successful coach?
Just go back to the starting point. I thought it was a really good one though. People's expectations of how quickly they're going to build a personal training business. You look at like trainers that may be doing 30, 35, 40 hours and think you're going to get there in a year. You're not going to get there in a year. And even if you did get there in a year, you're going to have drop-offs in that meantime as well. So it takes donkey's years, well, donkey's years is a bit harsh, but maybe like 3 to 5 years.
And what we're doing here, we're setting realistic stuff for realistic trainers. There's always outliers. I've heard stories of the outliers that Phil Learney, whatever, I've heard his stories and stuff like that. But he's probably a bit of an outlier.
Yeah.
So if he's like, oh, you need to be like me, like most people aren't like you. Let's not make everyone like you.
Yeah.
And what we want to do on this podcast is talk to normal coaches or normal people around health, well-being, psychology, and today more around kind of personal training and helping coaches. But yeah, it's we and life, we only hear the outliers. This is something I've been thinking a lot about, is the podcast, the social media stuff. You're hearing the best. You don't hear about the other people who are doing just okay, who are probably still really fulfilled and really happy with their lives. You don't hear about that. You only hear the outliers because they're the people with more the noise.
Yeah, we don't hear...
The noise is from the outliers.
Even some of the outliers. You don't hear much from Michael, do you?
No.
But also...
But I mean the outliers from the noise that you're getting in.
Yeah, the social media thing's another thing. If you're a trainer that sort of pretends you're busier than you are, it becomes a self-perpetuating problem as well, because you get a lot of people on there doing that, and I've seen some who I know aren't as busy as they're portraying, not as in locally, as in when I've gone out on courses and things. And I get why people are trying to do that. They're trying to create a business that looks like it's busy. Unfortunately, you end up in this thing where you're perpetuating the problem, where then people come in to the industry and they see trainers that they think are really busy all the time and have been from word go, and they might not have been. And then you're creating this sort of false narrative around, actually, for the majority of general population trainers, it's quite hard. The first couple of years are quite hard. You're quiet, you're up, you're down, you've got rent to pay, you've got all your personal stuff to do. Hopefully maybe you're trying to educate yourself as well. There's not loads of money until your business becomes more sort of balanced and sustained, which takes a good few years. And I think, again, if there's people out there that are just pretending they're busier than they are, first of all, that must become like a narrative you almost fall into believing that you are. But the second thing is, I don't think it's good for the industry as a whole.
I mean, humans often, we all perceive things through our own lens, don't we? And we only perceive often what we can see, and what we can see is what people show us.
Yes.
And if people aren't being open and honest about their situation, then we
might feel bad about yourself.
Well, we start to take everything at face value.
Yeah.
And it's the worst thing you can do. Whether someone looks really happy or they look like their life looks good from the outside. And I know plenty of people who I've met who their lives are very, very different
to what you see.
Online. And to be honest with you, most people's are.
Yeah.
So if you're comparing online, or even if you meet someone in your local gym or someone out there and they look quite happy, you don't know what's going on. There's a good kind of campaign around depression. And there's a really good video going around. This was actually on social media, and you had two blokes watching the football, and one bloke being really energised and happy and loving it, and one bloke looking almost quite depressed. And then the video went on, and towards the end of the video, the bloke was really happy, didn't tip up one day. Essentially, he committed suicide. And the point being is, just because someone looks great from the outside, you don't know what's going on internally. And everyone's going with their own internal struggles. Just some people are more open and honest about it than others. Yeah. So I think it's a really important thing to remember is you will compare, you will perceive things through your own lens, but what you see from the outside and what people show you is very, very rarely what is really going on. And you've had good conversations with coaches as a mentor, and so have I. And we like to help and support coaches from a mentoring perspective and get a little bit beneath the surface and understand what's going on, not just from the outside and what you're showing the world. And I also, not to kind of contradict what you're saying, but I do want to say alongside this, you do want to show yourself as confident as a coach. So of course, you're there. If you need to put yourself out there. And when I was a young coach, if work was a bit quieter and someone in the gym came up to me and said, "How's work?" I'm not like really quiet. I am going to say to people, not in a lying way, but like, business is good. Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm busy, but I'm saying business is good. So it was, but people are like, "Oh, why are you busy?" I'm like, "Yeah, I feel pretty busy at the moment." So I wasn't lying, but I was wanting to paint a picture that, I'm good at what I do. If I was like, "How's business?" and I'm like, "Oh, it's dead at the moment. It's not very good or very quiet." And there was times in my early career when it was quite, not dead, but it was quieter and I was struggling a little bit. But it wasn't professional for me to put that out to my potential clients.
Yeah, no.
So that's I don't know that's a caveat, but it's just something to add into the conversation here as well, because as with any conversation, there are nuances as well. And I think if you're on the gym floor as a coach, you want to step in confident and be very aware of how you're communicating. You don't need to lie and bullshit, but I do think optimism and enthusiasm and motivation is what people are buying into. And if you're not kind of showing that, then straight away your business doesn't look like a particularly good business to invest into.
No, I'm talking about people that outright lie.
I'm not.
So what I'm saying is it wasn't a caveat, because I agree with you. If people came and asked me how my business was in the early days, you wouldn't be like, it's shit. You're still going to be positive, because that's people are buying into a personal trainer.
And you've seen stuff that I haven't. I must admit, I haven't seen people lie.
Yeah, no,
I haven't. So I'm not going to sit here and call anyone out because I've seen it.
A trainer I used to work with a long time ago. He was an estate agent. And if someone phoned up on the day to look at a house, they would lie, even if they were all sat in the office doing nothing, and say, sorry, I haven't got any time for the next sort of couple of days. We have to book it further down the line. Even though they could have gone and shown someone the house there. That's fucking mental, isn't it? Don't do that. And there's one thing about I could actually, on the flip side of that, even if I had time on the day at this stage in my career, I would never book a client in on the day now. If someone cancels, then that happens all the time in personal training world, and it creates a bit more time. But I've always got my day as it is, so I wouldn't book someone in on the day. But of course, it's different. If you're early in your career and someone's come and said, "Can I do a bit of a taster session if you've got a minute?" then you would do that. The next thing, well, I suppose it's a little bit of a caveat. Just actually go back to your business talk earlier. I see a lot of people now, and I get it because it's quite exciting when you do it, especially if you're your own business, concentrating more on their logo, brand, social media presence and marketing than they do on personal training. And what our bias will probably come to is, if you're going to start on the gym floor, actually none of that matters. All that matters on the gym floor is that you're a good person to have around the place, you're energetic, you clearly enjoy fitness and training and being with people, and you go and talk to people, your business will build. Doesn't need to have your own little logo on your t-shirt.
You know what? It might never matter.
Well, I would actually argue...
It might. It depends on the type of coach that you want to be. But I'll be honest with you.
It never will.
16 years of coaching, I've played about with different websites and different logos and different ways of marketing, loads of different things throughout the years. But if I look at my clients now and what's made me a reasonably successful coach with a good local reputation, isn't any of that. That has made zero, to be honest with you. Zero. It's all about people. And that's my bias coming out there. But the better I get with people, the better rapport I build, the better service I deliver, the better value I offer as a coach. That's allowed me to gradually put my prices up throughout the years and put me in a good place. Now, of course, that would depend on if you're looking at scaling one-to-one stuff, but you can do well one-to-one coaching and have a reasonable life if that's what you want. Now, if you're looking at going into the six-figure mark and expanding from there, then I think that's a different conversation, but that isn't the conversation we're having today.
No, because that would be a company.
Yeah.
But for you as a personal trainer, you don't need one. If you had the person that was logoed up, branded up, nice little Nike t-shirt with the logo on one side, with the social media and the website, never spoke to anyone, or the person that just rocked up in the gym gear, or whatever gym they're working at with the t-shirt, spoke to people, delivered great sessions, interested in people. If we had those two extremes, because obviously you can do both, but if you had those two extremes, there's only one winner on a gym floor.
Yeah.
And as James says, you might never need that. Now, of course, you can do that, but you're going to need to do the other side, and arguably the other side's more important to build a client base. And if you want to add a bit more something, because actually you like the logo, you like the branding, you want to come across a bit more professional than maybe people you're working for, brilliant.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
I mean,
but get on the floor.
Let me use an example for bringing the other way around and things. So I get some one-to-one yoga. Most weeks or every other week. She doesn't have any brand or any business. She's just great at yoga. Yeah. She's great at coaching me.
Yeah.
Now we'll have a lovely conversation at the beginning.
I'm coaching you
because I'm shit. But she'll listen to me. We'll have good conversations. We'll have good feedback. The sessions are great. I really enjoy them. That's what I'm paying for. I couldn't give a toss about a logo. I really don't care. I would not at all. That means nothing to me as a consumer. Some people might disagree, and as a consumer that means something to them. But all of my clients, none of them care. And I've really take on new clients, but I just have done this year for a couple that were referral. They're a referral. They're coaching with me because I've coached some of their friends for over a decade. So I've got that relationship or that trust with them already through offering a good job. They won't kind of wondering, what's James's logo and stuff or whatever. They're not bothered by that. But I'm also going to go off what you say as well. Great, if you want to have that stuff, not saying no, don't do it.
No.
Have the website, have all that, even have the systems if you want to have that. Great. But for me, I've just not really needed it. Now, if I wanted to do other business things, I also see the value in them. But it's been really clear, isn't it? Because it could get, and I've done it lots of times in my career where I've wasted time. Hence why we're having this conversation now, to stop PTs wasting as much time. If you can put your time and focus into the most important things, then your career's going to move forward faster. And these days, I feel, and it's just a feeling and a perception of me, from my perspective here, is maybe younger coaches, maybe in their early or mid-20s, maybe they struggle because they're more, maybe the online world seems a bit safer, maybe going and having real conversations with people might be more scary. And it wasn't easy for me, even though I was 23, 24, I've been in the military. It's still a bit nerve-wracking stepping into a gym, not knowing anyone, having conversations. So I'm sure if you struggle with that type of situation, it's going to be a bit nerve-wracking. But if you don't get out there and do it at all,
you won't build your business.
You won't do it. Now, again, let's make a caveat to that. Let's make sure James has been open-minded with it. The world is slightly different now. I'm sure there are people who do go on social media looking for one-to-one personal training. And I do know some local trainers who have done well from their social media and picked up clients from that. So if that's a great skill of yours,
but do you know any trainers that have done that without having a pretty good solid client base first?
I don't know, mate. I don't know.
Because I don't. So we've got we've got 9 trainers at the.
But I think what I would say is the people I can think of who are doing that have invested in themselves as a coach.
That's what I mean. So
they're developing. They've got a certain thing about them that makes them a good in-person coach. It's about the in-person coach, but I am just trying to be open-minded with my bias today and recognise that if you're a PT starting now, it's different to 2008. But I think there's a lot of messages that we're talking about today that aren't strong enough, that are slightly diluted. I feel, again, through my own perception, that the message around how you get good with people and communication and stuff we've done on the podcast some time ago around really developing and understanding the person you're working with, that is what will get your business to move forward.
Yeah,
rather than a logo.
There's no one that I know that has got loads of business through social media, having not already built a reputation on the gym floor. So that's me known personally. There might be people out there who will say different. I mean,
there's probably coaches out there who built an online business without any.
Yes, but from what I've seen, most of them are quite popular already on social media through maybe getting good shape, maybe being physique developers, or maybe being sports people or whatever. I think if you just finished your course, jumped on social media, came up with a great logo and a brand, and then expected to get clients, I'd say it's highly unlikely, not impossible. But the majority of people that I know that do really well have got brands and logos, and they're on social media and they've got websites. A lot of them have already built a client base. They've already got a bit of a local reputation, and then start to expand out. Maybe they've gone courses. What we're saying is, I suppose, get the fundamentals in place first. Be a good person to be around, improve your coaching, always want to improve your coaching, work with people, and build a business on the gym floor.
Yeah, understand your people you're working with, but also understand yourself. And people who have been successful online have understood that they really are great at copy, and they really like the design element, and they just love that sort of stuff.
That's cool.
And they're great at that, and there's a coaching side of things that I don't have an experience with. I'm sure from what I've picked up and heard in courses that I've done, people have got some great skill sets there, and I've took a little bit from that and go, well, hang on, maybe my copy, the way that I communicate or the way that I write could improve a little bit. So I've took some of that, but not at the cost of investing in the basics of what's the basics that are really going to move the needle forward from the type of coaching that I get the most fulfillment from, based upon myself, understanding myself as a person, and just my own skill set as well. And if there's weaknesses that I've got that are holding me back, then yes, I need to look at that. And I've got weaknesses that I've got, like being not very good with technology, and it's not massively holding me back, then I don't need to stress about it. But
also being good, and also followers, the amount of followers that a coach has doesn't equate to how busy they are as a personal trainer. It might do, it might not. So again, I know trainers with big followings that aren't actually that busy. I know trainers with small followings and no followings that are busy. And of course, there will be some that match. Massive followings, massive client base. But I think don't presume just because someone's got a big client base, and for me, new big's not that big, is it? Like 5,000 up or whatever would be fairly big following to me. You're not getting loads there. So again, it's nice to build it up. You maybe get a bit of reputation, connect with other trainers. This is the good side of social media. That's why I jumped on it way back ago, just because I was up at M10 doing a course, and everyone was adding on Instagram. That's how they stayed in contact. So that's actually initially why I signed up, was because actually it was like, if I want to stay in contact with these people who I really get on with and want to maybe build a network of trainers, that's where I needed to go, which was fine. But so it does have its really good points as well. But yeah, I think a lot of people get stuck in the sexy shit. And I'm sure it happens in every industry. See the sexy shit of brands and logos and social media and videos, and which isn't sexy to me. It's a bit I fucking hate. But get stuck in that bit and actually don't do the groundwork of building a really nice client base first, or just building those skills. And as I say, I go back to sort of Paul's point, which makes sense to me, despite the fact I've never been an online trainer, but he's done both. He's done the switch. He considered himself a far better online coach for having been a gym floor personal trainer first.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great bit of advice if you're looking to go online. Get some time in person. Get some time.
I know it took him a while in the end. I think last time we were out with him after the podcast, I think he still had 3 or 4. In fact, James Sutton did say that on our podcast, where he's purely online, but he just kept sort of 4 or 5. They enjoyed working with a person, good network, been together a long time, and actually still kept and it just kept him. He was saying, we can still tweak things in life with people, off, not just on him, I think was his point. So even someone is an online coach, he's not going to take on any in-person people. He still does have a few in-person people. So I think that's an interesting point as well. I think, mate.
I will just finish off by saying, I think this getting a balance between being aware of your environment and learning and absorbing new things, not being so fixed and dogmatic, but also the other side of it, learning when to kind of switch off from the noise as well. Something that I've done now later on in my career is switch off from a lot of the PT noise, to be honest with you. I don't follow a lot of trainers now, and I don't spend loads of time on social media anyway. Actually, since my silent retreat, I'm on it a lot less.
Yeah.
I do feel good for being on it a lot less, which is a difficult thing to try and work out, because there are some values to it as well from a business perspective. But I personally have found it a lot easier to be clearer, more productive and more focused when I'm focused on me and my stuff, and not so much what other people are doing. I found that really useful for my career and my growth. I think when I was younger, and I think if I was younger and I was around more social media, I think I would have really struggled with that, because naturally I probably would have compared more. I think when I started out in my career, social media wasn't the same now. So I suppose my advice would be, again, to recap today's points, is understand yourself, have some idea on kind of what you want your business to look like and your career to look like, and then try and focus on that. Not saying you totally switch off from your environment, because you could connect really well with other trainers and develop kind of good relationships and both get benefit from it from a business perspective and a growth perspective. But if you're so focused and so sucked into what other people are doing and sucked into their way of doing it at the cost of your own authentic path, that could be an issue.
100%. And as always, we're always right. So just do what we say.
We're the gods of
fucking successful. Cool. So just reiterate from the start. First of all, if you can like and subscribe, we should say that each time.
That'd be really, really appreciated, guys. I know a lot of people won't, but if you can, that'd be amazing. And if you think I sound better than I look, let me know. I sound better than no. I think I look better than I sound. Yeah. Well, let us know. Yeah. We'll put a poll up. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of how we look. Most importantly, this video will go on YouTube, guys. It'll be in the show notes if you'd rather watch. But if you just want to listen to our beautiful voices, then as always, we'll catch you next week.